Hey everybody, this is Phased again, and today we're going to take a look at chargers. Specifically, we're going to take a look at the Ultrafire WP-188, the Sysmax Intellicharger i4, and the XTAR SP-2. If you're like me, you probably have a whole bunch of different types of batteries for your different mods that you use. Sometimes the kits you buy come with chargers, sometimes they don't. And sometimes the chargers you get with some of these kits are pretty bad. So we're going to talk about smart chargers today, and we're going to look at the types of batteries they charge, how they work, safety inherent in them, and we're just going to compare them so you can look at these and see what might be best for you. Alright, first we're going to take a look at the Ultrafire WP-188. The Ultrafire WP-188 is a 2-bay rapid charger. You can charge either the lithium iron phosphate batteries, which are the 3.2 volt batteries, or you can charge lithium ion IMR batteries, which are 3.7 volt batteries. You differentiate between the two based on the selector switch here. You have your 3.7 volt switch, or if you're charging the lithium iron phosphate batteries, you can charge at 3.2 volts. Make sure you have this switch set properly to the type of battery you're using, because if you charge a lithium iron phosphate battery at this setting, you're going to overcharge it. So if we're going to charge the lithium ion batteries, we're going to switch it to 3.7. Also on the other side, there's a switch. This is a selector switch for your output. You have two choices, 300 milliamps or 650 milliamps. This switch is important. We're going to talk about safety here in a little bit. But basically, if you're charging an 18650 or a 26650 or a bigger battery, you're going to set it to the 650 milliamp. If you're charging a 14500 or if you're charging an 18350, something like that, you're going to probably keep it over here in the 300 milliamp. And again, we'll explain this later. The mechanism, battery slides in. You have these little slides here, and you have your positive contact and your negative contact. These lights will be green in standby mode or when it's charged, and then when the battery is charging, these lights turn red. This is a smart charger. It charges to 4.2 volts in the 3.7 volt mode, and then it turns to standby. The types of batteries you can use that this will charge, anything from the 1400 series, so like a 14500 battery, it will charge all the way up to a 26650. So that's your range. Anything in between there, the CR123s, your 1600 series, 17, 18, 22, 26, it will charge any of those. Okay, I don't know if this is really going to show up that well, but I want to show you that the lights on here, you can see they're green in standby mode. I'm going to insert a battery. It's an 18650, and then the light turns red. Now this has reverse battery protection. Say I put this battery in backwards. Say it's a flat top and I can't tell. It's going to stay in standby mode. It will not charge it. So it is a safe charger that way. Anyway, turns red, and it will stay red until it's done, and then it will turn green again for standby mode. So that is the WP-188. Next, we're going to look at the XTAR SP-2. Okay, this is the XTAR SP-2. Again, you can see it's a 2-bay charger. You also see you have these sliding mechanisms here. There is not a place for the spacers like the WP2 and the WP6 have, so there is no use for spacers. This does use a sliding mechanism instead. This also has a selectable amp switch. Now this can only charge 3.7 volt lithium ion batteries. It cannot do lithium iron phosphate batteries. So those are out. This only does 3.7 volt batteries. We do have this button here, and we do have a selector switch. It says 0.5 amp, 1 amp, and 2 amp. So this is 500 milliamp charging, 1000 milliamp charging, or 2000 milliamp charging. Now it's selectable via this button here, and when I plug it in, I'll show you that function. Again, you need to pay attention to the type of battery you're putting in the device to depend on what you select at. If you're using a smaller battery, like a 18350 or a 14500, you're going to stick to the 0.5 amp. If you're charging an 18650 battery, that's say 2000 milliamp hour, you can put it on the 1 amp. If you're charging a 26650, then it's safe to go up to 2 amps. So you're going to base it on your milliamp hour. Again, we're going to talk about this in safety when we get to that point. Let's talk about the type of batteries that this device will charge. It will also, like the WP-188, charge everything in the 14 series range to the 2600 series range, with a few notable exceptions, namely short batteries. So if you have an 18350 battery, it won't fit. So you can't charge an 18350 battery with this charger. Just won't work. The shortest battery that I could get to work in this was a 14430, and that was just barely making contact. So anything smaller than this, or shorter I should say, isn't going to work. So keep that in mind, that if you have a lot of 18350 batteries, you're going to need something else besides this. Okay, like the WP-188, when the charger is either in standby mode or fully charged, your indicator lights are green. When you place a battery in the device, they do turn red. And you'll notice here's our selector switch. Just push it and that will change the rate at which it charges the battery. Now again, this is a 26650 battery, so I can charge this safely at 2 amps. If it was a smaller battery, say like this 14500, I would have to charge that at 0.5 amps. Also this one, put the battery in backwards and nothing happens. It remains in standby mode. So that's pretty much the SP-2. And finally, let's look at the Sysmax Intellicharger i4. Okay, let's talk about the Sysmax Intellicharger i4. This is a 4-bay charger. Each is independently controlled by a separate microprocessor. You have the blue light up here indicating that the device is powered. There is no selector switch for your amp on this one. This one automatically switches your output depending on how many batteries you put in it. These also use a slide mechanism. Unlike the other two, these are a little stiff. They don't move as easily as the other two chargers. So when you put a battery in it, you pretty much have to put it in by using your finger to slide that down, sliding your battery in that way. Now you'll notice that instead of a red and green light, we have 3 bars, and it shows the state of charge or progression of charge. 1 means it's pretty low, 2 it's about, it's between 1/3 and 2/3. Flashing on the 3rd means it's getting close to full, and when it becomes solid means your battery's charged and ready to be used. This can charge not only lithium ion batteries and IMR batteries, but it can also charge nickel metal hydride batteries, so like your rechargeable AA, AAA, and C batteries like you would get from Radio Shack. So if you use a lot of those, this might be a good charger for you to kind of thin the charger herd. This does not charge lithium iron phosphate batteries, so it's only lithium ion, IMR, or nickel metal hydride or NiCad batteries. So those are your 2 options there. This also has an auto shutoff at 4.2 volts like the other 2 also does. Reverse battery protection. If you take a battery and you put it in backwards, it gives you an error. It flashes all 3 saying, hey dummy, you put it in backwards. A couple of tricks for this one. Say your one battery will charge at 750 milliamps, which, for a battery like this, that's pretty good. Say you're using a 14500 and it's a 900 milliamp hour battery, or you're charging AA's or AAA's in the NiCad mode. Don't charge 1 at a time. You need to charge 2. And the reason for that is, one of those batteries can't take a charge at 750 milliamps. So up to 2 batteries, you get 750 milliamps. 4 batteries, or I should say 2 or more, gets 250 milliamps each. So if I put in, you know, another battery over here, well, see, they stick. And I put in another battery here, and I put in another battery here. You know, it's going to, it can charge all of those different sizes. Now the size range of these, you can charge anything from the 10 series, which would be like your AAA size, all the way up to the 26 series. So anything from a AA or AAA size, 14500, 1600, 1700, all the way up to 26 650 battery, and it will charge them all, with the exception of your lithium iron phosphate batteries. All right, let's talk about charger safety. Specifically on these devices that have the selectable output. The rule of thumb that I've read is you want to charge a battery at 1/2 or less its stated capacity. So if you have a battery that has 2000 milliamp hour rating, so you have an AMR 2000 mAh battery, you don't want to charge that any faster than 1000 milliamp. So 1 amp would be fine for that battery. If you have a battery that's 1000 milliamp hour rated, you don't want to charge that any more than 500 milliamps. The reason for that is you don't want to push that charge in too fast, causing too much heat and maybe possibly getting that battery the possibility to vent. If you charge over the rated capacity of that battery, the battery can vent, and it will. I actually have a friend of mine not too long ago who wasn't paying attention, charged a smaller battery in an XTAR SP-2, charged it at the 2 amp setting, and the battery did vent and degas. Luckily he was watching it and it did not cause a fire, but it did ruin his battery, and it can be dangerous. So pay attention, especially on some of these devices like the WP-188 and the SP-2, where you have to select your settings. Pay attention to what batteries you're putting in it and what your settings are, and practice battery safety. Another thing to note, if you do charge a battery, and even if you're not going to leave it and walk away, although I suggest not doing that, they make these battery charging bags. This one's called a LiPo Guard. I got this one from Vaporite, and it's basically just a bag, fire retardant. It's got Velcro sealing. You put your charger inside of it while it's charging, and should an event happen where you have a battery degas or vent, it's contained in this bag. Batteries can fail. They can fail on a charger. It happens, so you need to be careful. So pay attention to your settings. Pick up one of these and use it. You can't be too safe with this kind of stuff. So if you're in the market for a charger, hopefully this video has helped you kind of narrow down your choices based on the type of devices you use, the type of batteries those devices require, and your charging needs. As always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you again soon.